Hi, hello. I have made videos about VR chat slang before, but I actually haven't talked about Japanese general slang. So let's dive into the world of Japanese slang today. I will be going from basic words like yabai to more advanced words as we go. So without any further ado, let's go. Alright, so let's take it from the top and actually start with that one. If you've ever talked to someone in Japanese, or if you're a fan of Japanese streamers or VTubers, you've probably heard of this one before. Yabai at its core means something like crazy, but that's kind of a sloppy translation. Like, it doesn't really capture what it actually means. Because actually, this crazy can go both ways. It can mean both crazy, as in a positive way, but it also can have a slightly negative nuance. A lot of dictionaries go about translating yabai as amazing or cool. So when someone uses it, you really have to kind of read the room and interpret which meaning they mean in which context. You can also use it as an interjection, like, yaba, nihongo jouzu, or yaba, mou jikan da. So this is kind of like saying, damn, you're good at Japanese, or oh crap, it's already time. Next up, we got this little guy. You've probably actually seen this kind of face before, and it's called pleading in English, but in Japanese, it's called pien. I've actually encountered a lot of people that say that pien comes from the English pain, but I don't think that's true. It's actually just an onomatopoeia, which is used for, like crying, like, wah. So over time, it actually became associated with the pleading emoji and became a slang word. So you can use this when you're sad or asking someone for something. Bazuru is another word that has formed alongside the internet. And I've actually covered this one in one of my other videos about weird Japanese verbs. So you can check that out after this video if you want. I've put the link in the description down below. The short version, however, is that this comes from the word bazu, which means buzz, and the verb-forming suffix ru. So it just means to be buzz or, to become viral. Another very handy slang term is gachide. Gachide is just a stronger version of majide, which is another slang word in and of itself. And it kind of means the same thing. It means kind of for real. The usual robotic translation is closer to like truly or in earnest. But no one really says that in English slang, so it's more similar to something like for real. And while we're talking about useful words, another one would be sorena. Sore just means that, and na is an emphatic sentence ender. This sort of means I get that, and is similar in meaning to saying wakaru. If you want to go from there, there's also another slangy way to express that you agree with what somebody else said. Hagedo. Hagedo. This is definitely less common than sorena, but people still use it, especially online. This one comes from hageshi, which in this case we'll just translate as extremely, and doi, which means agreement. So use this one when you really agree with what someone's saying. Alright, let's backtrack for a second and get back to adjectives. I think at this point we all know what yabai means, but have you heard of egui? This is pretty much like a leveled up yabai, and it means roughly the same thing, but the nuance is a bit different. It's actually pretty hard to pinpoint the exact feeling that Egui emphasizes, so I'm very glad that today's sponsor, Italki, can help us out here. But what is Italki? Italki is a language learning platform where you can book one-on-one personalized lessons for over 150 plus languages with certified native speaking teachers. What I personally really like about Italki is that you're flexible in booking lessons, since you actually only pay per lesson, so you can pretty much book lessons whenever you would like. They also have actually recently added a whole new suite of AI tools, which make it easier to make the most out of your lessons. You can now get comprehensive summaries of your lessons, so no frantic note-taking during the lesson. This helps alleviate stress and helps you focus on what's actually happening in your lesson. Additionally, you can also now see helpful insights from the lessons and track your studying process with structured practice sessions. And the best part is that you can also try these tools for 1 month for free. So yeah, why Italki? Well, I am actually still far from fluent in Japanese, which is why I've booked a lesson on Italki to help us out with today's tricky slang words. So let's get some help from a professional teacher. I've been very curious about, difference between yabai and egui, because I've been thinking, it's I always use it really, so I don't really know how to explain it. So I'm curious how you would explain that.
Of course. So yabai, it's very versatile, dude. I think you already used it so many times.
Yeah.
So I would say yabai in a really nicer way, like a yabai. That kind of tonality, phonetics is more like, oh, that's crazy. That kind of stuff. And if you say yaba, drop the E.
Yeah.
That sounds like that's fucking crazy, bro. a little like a serious stuff. And egui, actually egui, the origin of it is like something sharp, grotesque, cringy. So egui, usually we use that to say really severe wound, scars, like really deep scars. And that's egutta, eguru, which means scrape
I didn't know that.
your meat. Yeah, that's where it came from. So whenever you want to say, ooh, that's harsh, that's super sharp, oh my god. So if something makes you go like, ooh,
when someone says something
that?
crazy.
The nuance is egui is more like heavier than yabai
I see.
because of the origin of it.
なるほどね。
So yeah,
I
そんな
see.
感じ。スラングはいつもそんな感じで説明してる。If you use that, you can talk about the situation.
Like あたふただね。
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, that's such a freaking out situation, right? That's what you're saying with just one sentence.
Yeah. It's very expressive, right? Like
Modern
めっちゃい
slang,
いじゃん。
like super slang. 超いい。
バイトだろうも
こ
なんすか店長時給上げてくれるんすか
ういやなんで出勤しただけで時給上がるんだよ
生とウーロン茶ピッチャーで持ってきます
それで
はいよトリマ乾杯してあげてきましょう
柔軟な対応
魚おすすめは
寒ブリっすね見しまってて美女完璧
お刺身ですか
刺身もいいけどブリしゃぶとかチルくないっすか
いいね
締めの雑炊友達もチルってました
じゃあそれで
あざーす
I've seen it
Yeah,
before.
like that.
見たことあるかも。
進めるパないやつ。
パナイ。I actually
Did
don't
you get
know.
that one?
パナイ。
Nice.
I think
so,
about it.
半端ない。
半端
That's the slang.
Oh, and it's short of that. Short
Yeah.
term.
We shorten
なる
that
ほど
one
ね。
a lot. パない。
パナイ。パナイ。I actually never
This-
heard that.
Yes, in this case, it's a bit different. 半端ない is like, oh, that was crazy. That was insane.
Yeah.
Here, she's saying, also, she's a regular, so she's saying, also, you want the usual crazy shit? And she's like, yeah, crazy shit, please.
Crazy. Yeah, I see.
パないやつ。
パナイやつ。Anyways, thank you so much.
Anyway.
Wow, that
Yeah,
was
じゃあ
very
ま
fun.
たね。
またね。Have a good weekend.
あ
Bye
ざ
bye.
ーす。
あざーす。
あざーす。
Bye bye. If you would like to try out italki yourself, you can do that right now. Click through the link below in the description to start your language learning journey. Buy $10 and get $5 for free for your first lesson using my exclusive promo code NERZAWA5. The discounts are only available for the first 50 users, so act quick. I've worked with italki before and I'm very grateful that they're deciding to sponsor me again. So thank you, italki. Alright, back to the video. So in the same vein of sorena or hakido, you can also say wakarimi ga fukai. Wakarimi ga fukai, which literally translates to understanding is deep. You can use this when you profoundly share a similar experience or feelings with the person you're talking to. So when you deeply relate to one another. This slang is also very Gen Z, so if you use it, people will probably be very, very surprised. Another slang that's very Gen Z is kaiwai. Kaiwai has actually been used for a long, long time now, but if you've been on Japanese Twitter, you will definitely have seen this one. Kaiwai originally means neighborhood, but these days in slang it's used to describe a certain group of people, like a kind of community or fandom of sorts that surrounds a certain hobby or interest. So you can pretty much make up any kind of kaiwai as long as there's people out there that share that mutual interest. One kaiwai out there would be dekki kaiwai. This kaiwai doesn't revolve around a certain hobby or interest though, but instead it describes people who have overslept and hence feel despair. That's what the deki part means. And yes, you've heard me right, it is actually a real word. Go look it up. If you aren't spending your time browsing kaiwais on Twitter though, you may be a ryaju. Ryaju. The ria part comes from the word riaru, and the ju part comes from jubun, which means satisfactory or enough. So riaju describes a person who is extroverted and content with their real life and goes outside often. So a person with a lot of IRL friends. Couldn't be me. Alright, I know that we've talked about yabai and egui already, but there's also another adjective that I want to talk about. Emoi. Emoi. This is a shorthand of the katakana word emosunaru and the adjective forming suffix i. Well, if you know a little bit of English, you might already be able to tell that this word means something like emotional or melancholic. Since this is a normal i adjective, you can also emokunai, not emoi, or emota, it was emoi. And to finish things off, Kimoi is another shortened form. Kimoi is short for kimochi warui, which is the opposite of kimochi and means unpleasant or gross. Kimoi means something similar, but it's a bit stronger than just saying kimochi warui. A bonus one along the same lines of kimoi is kishoi, which comes from kishoku ga warui, which means pretty much the same thing as kimochi warui. And that's pretty much all I had to say. I actually still have a lot of other slang words to teach you, so like the video if you want to see more and subscribe so you don't miss any new uploads. Also, don't forget to check out italki if you're interested, for the link down below or the pinned comment. Thank you very much to my channel members for supporting me, and have a great day. Mata ne ra! Bye bye!